Hello dear friends. In last lecture we have discussed about the male reproductive system. In that we have discussed what are the various organs of the reproductive systems. Basically testes, that is the structure of testes, function of the sperm cells. Then we have discussed structure of sperm cell in detail. Now today we are discussing the male. Also we have discussed list of the accessory organs, male internal accessory organs. So today in this lecture we are going to focus first male external reproductive organ. Okay, so sorry, in the last lecture we already discussed that male accessory organs also, but today we are going to discuss male external reproductive organ. So in this structure, external reproductive organ, so that include scrotum. In pair of scrotum there are two testes and the another one is the penis. So this is a penis and this is scrotum. These are the two male external organs. The male external reproductive organs, the urethra passes through the penis. Here you find the urethra, so which is passes through the penis. So in case of male and female, the urethra plays a different role. Okay, now we will come to the male external reproductive organ, that is a scrotum. The scrotum consists of skin and subcutaneous tissue and smooth muscle fiber and is located outside the abdominal wall posterior to the penis. Okay, the function of the dartos muscle. So the dartos muscle is a very important muscle. Is a wrinkle the skin of the scrotum during cold condition. So that wrinkling of the scrotum, it is because of the dartos muscle. Then the next one, medial septums. The scrotum is divided into two chambers again. So medial septum divides the scrotum into two chambers basically. Each chamber is aligned with the serous membrane and each chamber houses a testis and epididymis. So if you see the structure, so this is a testis and is covered by the scrotum, and this on the scrotum there are dartos muscles and which wrinkles the skin of this of the scrotum during cold condition, and that scrotum is divided into two chambers. Each chamber of the scrotum is lined with serous membrane which functions to help the testis move freely within the scrotum. So movement is very important, so that movement of the testis takes place in the scrotum. The next one, penis, which conveys the urine and semen, that I already told you. The penis which conveys the urine and semen, specialized to become erect for insertion into the vagina. So if you see this is the structure of penis. Erection is the enlarging and stiffening of the penis and enabled to be inserted into the vagina during sexual intercourse. So that is the meaning, specialized to become erect for insertion into the vagina. The body of the penis is composed of three columns of erectile tissue, connective tissue and skin. So three types of erectile tissue, connective tissue and skin. So corpora cavernosa. and corpus spongiosum. So corpora cavernosa is a paired column of erectile tissue dorsally located. If you see in this diagram here, the section, if you take the section, it will be a look like this. So corpora cavernosa. So this pair of corpora cavernosa, column of erectile tissue which is dorsally located. Corpus spongiosum is a single column. If you see this, corpus spongiosum is a single column of erectile tissue ventrally located. A tunica albuginea. If you see here, tunica albuginea, tunica albuginea, tunica albuginea is a tough capsule that surrounds each column of erectile tissue. If you see here, so these 1, 2, 3, so these are the 3 kinds of erectile tissue which is available in the penis and which is surrounded by tunica albuginea. So it is a very important type of capsule. The glands of penis, here, if you see these glands of penis, is the enlargement of the corpus spongiosum at its distal end. Okay, means distal means that is where the last part, distal end means away from the starting. Okay, so that's why it is very important. The glands of penis is the enlargement of the corpus spongiosum at its end. If you see here, corpus spongiosum, okay, and if you see this urethra, okay, and then inside that this corpus cavernosa. So urethra, okay, so through the urethra the both urine and semen will come and is a part of the penis. The prepuce is a loose folds of skin. These are the skin, outer skin. The prepuce is a loose fold of skin just posterior to the glands and extend anteriorly to cover its sheath. Okay, so if you see this covering, this is called as a prepuce. This is the external urethral orifice that you know. Okay, then circumcision is the removal of the prepuce. Circumcision is the removal of prepuce. In some religion, that removal of the prepuce is a mandatory. Okay, so there are the reason is that there is a less chances of causing some STD infection, so that may be the reason, maybe. Then the crura of the penis are the lateral diverging of corpora cavernosa that is attached to the pubic arch. Okay, so if you see this labeling, it's very important. Okay, the bulb of the penis is the enlargement of the corpus spongiosum between the crura. So the bulb of the penis is the enlargement of the corpus spongiosum between the crura, crura. Sorry. In the next slide, erection, orgasm and ejaculation. So most of the times these terminologies were used commonly or synonymously. Here, so we will discuss what is the erection basically. So an erection is produced by parasympathetic nerve impulses that cause the dilation of the arteries leading to the penis. At the same time, veins of the penis are compressed and blood accumulates in erectile tissue. So you know the erectile tissue, corpus cavernosum and corpora spongiosum, and the penis swells and elongates. So it is produced by the parasympathetic nerve. Corpora cavernosa and corpus spongiosum, these are the erectile tissues of the penis. They get dilated after the parasympathetic nerve stimulation. At the same time, what happens? The veins of the penis are compressed and blood accumulates in the erectile tissue. So the blood will comes out at the distal part of the penis, and it swells and elongates. Then orgasm. The orgasm is a very commonly used word. It is a culmination of sexual stimulation, and in the male is accompanied by emission and ejaculation. So emission and ejaculation. So the emission occurs in response to sympathetic nerve impulse. So emission occurs in response to sympathetic nerve impulse that stimulate the peristaltic contraction in smooth muscle within the walls of testicular duct, epididymis, vas deferentia and ejaculatory duct. So there is a movement, there is a peristaltic activity which will be takes place in the walls of testicular ducts, epididymis, vas deferentia and ejaculatory duct. So this contraction is from one part to the other part up to the ejaculation. Okay, so that will be takes place. It is because of the sympathetic nerve stimulation. If you see the erection, it is because of the parasympathetic nerve stimulation, and if you see the emission, the process, it is because of sympathetic nerve stimulation. Ejaculation is the forcing of semen through the urethra to outside. Okay. The sequence of events during emission and ejaculation are release of fluid from bulbourethral gland first. See the sequence. Up to the ejaculatory duct, the emission will occur, peristaltic movement. Then emission and ejaculation are release the fluid from the bulbourethral gland first, then release the fluid from the prostate, then passage of sperm cell, and finally ejection from seminal vesicle. Finally that ejection from the seminal vesicle, and the penis returns to flaccid state due to the flow of blood out of the penis through the vein. So that after that blood flow will gets back and that penis become flaccid. Okay, and that is because of the flow of blood out of the penis through the veins. Means that all during parasympathetic nerve stimulation, that will be fully dilated blood will get accumulated at the end part of the penis, but after ejaculation, such a type of event or sequence of event of emission and ejaculation, the penis become flaccid and the blood will again goes back through the vein. So here both parasympathetic and sympathetic system will work independently, and they have different role and important role. So if they continually working, there may be some disorder or disease, or if they are not working, there is a disorder. So that's why it is very important. So ejaculation, emission, orgasm, these are the problems of the male reproductive system nowadays, because of there are some hormonal imbalance is the first reason. There are second reason is the eating habits. Then third one is the lifestyle, that is the drinking of alcohol, smoking of cigarette, some abuse potential, depression, some drugs taking. So these are the variety of reasons that may also affect the erection, orgasm and ejaculation. Okay, so it should be a problem, and some bad habits also may cause such type of problems in the male person. Okay, now if you see here, this is the one of the table. So sexual stimulation, so it is one of the body's process. So there is no need to embarrass when you are listen the word sexual stimulation, when you listen the word orgasm, ejaculation, reproductive system. So it is a common process. It occurs in all individual which are present on the earth, mammals basically. So there is no need to embarrass when you are discussing such topic. You should clear your doubts what happened, and you should know your body. If you know if your body is healthy, then your health is become wealth, no doubt. So that's why it is very important. So we will come to the point sexual stimulation. How the sexual stimulation, that is erection. So parasympathetic neuron releases nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is a very important gas. It is also called as a gas, or it is also called as some chemical, okay, vasodilator. So if you heard about the some drugs which causes the erection, you heard of this is a very common one. It is a nowadays very well everybody knows that popular one, sildenafil tablet, okay, that may cause the sexual stimulation, and their main role is to releases the nitric oxide, okay. And those who are hypertensive patient, they have to take the precaution when they are going to use such type of tablet. So it should not be recommended in that patient. So what happen after the nitric oxide is released and dilation of arterioles to the penis? Veins are compressed, reducing the blood flow away from the penis. So blood flow away from the penis will be reduced, so that penis will not become flaccid in presence of nitric oxide. Okay, then what happen? Blood accumulates in the vascular spaces within the erectile tissue of the penis. So vascular spaces of erectile tissue of the corpus cavernosum and corpus spongiosum. In that particular vascular spaces is available where the blood get accumulated. Penis swells and become erect. Culmination of intense sexual stimulation. Sympathetic impulse contract the smooth muscle. Then peristaltic contraction is the intesticular duct, epididymis, ductus efferentia, ejaculatory duct. Then rhythmic contraction of erectile columns of the penis, rhythmic contraction in bulbourethral gland, prostate gland, and seminal vesicle. So all these together may cause the emission, and semen moves into the urethra, and that ejaculation, and semen is forcefully expelled from the urethra. So this is the one of the important process of ejaculation, erection, orgasm, and ejaculation. So first one is erection, second one is orgasm and ejaculation. If you see here in this chart, you will find organs and their function. So in short, we will take the review. Testis contains what? Seminiferous tubule and interstitial cells. Seminiferous tubules produce sperm cells. Interstitial cells produce and secrete the male sex hormone testosterone. The next one is the epididymis. So promote the sperm cell maturation, store the sperm cell, and convey sperm cell to the ductus deferens or vasa deferens. Ductus deferens conveys the sperm cell to the ejaculatory duct. Then next seminal vesicle secrete an alkaline fluid containing the nutrients and prostaglandins that helps neutralize the acidic component of the semen. Prostate gland, next one is that secrete the alkaline fluid that helps the neutralize the acidic components of semen and enhances sperm cell motility. Next, bulbourethral gland secrete the fluid that lubricates the end of the penis. Scrotum encloses, protects, and regulates the temperature of the testis. Next, penis, which conveys the urine and semen to outside of the body, inserted into the vagina during sexual intercourse. The glands of penis is rigidly supplied with sensory nerve endings associated with the feeling of pleasure during sexual stimulation. So each part of these male reproductive organs are very important. If any part is not working, so that may affect the whole health of reproductive tract of the male. So that's why it is very important. So we should always take care of our body. Every organ is very important in our body. Then hormonal control. So hormonal control of male reproductive function. So in that, hormones secreted by the hypothalamus, anterior pituitary, and testes control the male reproductive functions. Okay. Hormone from these glands initiate and maintain the sperm cell production, okay, and oversees the development and maintenance of male sex characteristics. So that's why it is very important after the age of 16 or 17, 18, after means the teenager ends, that male secondary sex characteristics are developing, okay, and for that purpose is hormones secreted by these various parts of the is from the hypothalamus, anterior pituitary and testes that plays very important role for masculine characteristics. The hypothalamus controls the maturation of sperm cells and development of male secondary sex characteristics. Again, here feedback system, negative feedback among the hypothalamus, the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland and the testes control the concentration of testosterone. So it is very important. So hypothalamus secretes gonadotropic releasing hormone which cause the anterior pituitary to release gonadotropin, ICSH and FSH. Interstitial cell stimulating hormone and follicle stimulating hormone that plays very important role. ICSH, interstitial cell stimulating hormone, promotes the development of interstitial cell. So interstitial cell, why it is important? So that produce and secrete the male sex hormone, okay. So their maturation is a very important part and their development is a very important part, and which is takes place by the taken care by the anterior pituitary, okay. Then FSH will stimulate the sustenicular cells of the seminiferous tubule to proliferate, grow, mature and respond to the effects of testosterone. So that's why it is very important, FSH. So when you are going to discuss the endocrine system, so at that time it is very important, ICSH, FSH. So why it is important? So FSH it stimulates the sustenicular cells of the seminiferous tubule to proliferate, grow, mature and respond to the effect of testosterone. The presence of FSH and testosterone cause the spermatogenic cells to undergo spermatogenesis. So for the process of spermatogenesis, the FSH plays a very important role. Inhibin is secreted by sustenicular cell and function to inhibit the anterior pituitary. Now we will come to the next, male sex hormone. So you heard about the androgenic characteristics. Androgen are male sex hormone and are produced by interstitial cell. The most abundant androgen is the testosterone. Dihydrotestosterone is another androgen and stimulates the cells of prostate gland, seminal vesicle and male external accessory organ. Okay. Testosterone secretion begins during the fetal development, then ceases during childhood. Puberty is the phase in the development when the individual becomes reproductively functional. After puberty, testosterone secretion continues throughout the life. So that is one of the functioning of male reproductive system. After the puberty, testosterone is continuously secreted throughout the life. Okay, in case of female is a different. In case of male again it is a different. So that's why it is very important. Then action of testosterone. So if you see the action of testosterone, there are various actions. So during embryonic development, testosterone stimulates the formation of male reproductive organ during embryonic development. Okay. During puberty, testosterone stimulation cause enlargement of the testis and accessory organ of the reproductive system, as well as development of male secondary sex characteristics. So that is also a very important role or action of testosterone. Secondary sex characteristics include increased growth of body hair, okay, then enlargement of larynx, voice change, thickening of vocal cord, thickening of the skin, then increased muscular growth, broadening shoulders, okay, narrowing of the waist, and thickening and strengthening of the bones. Okay. Testosterone increases the rate of cellular metabolism and production of red blood cell by stimulating the release of erythropoietin. So why there is a change in the why there is a difference between male and female red blood cell count? Male red blood cell count is different and female red blood cell count is different. So here is the reason. As testosterone increases the rate of cellular metabolism and production of red blood cells by stimulating the release of erythropoietin. So all indices of blood, it is because of this reason. So erythropoietin, which stimulates the red blood cell production. Testosterone stimulates the sexual activity by affecting certain portion of the brain. So that's why these are the variety of actions of testosterone. Now next we will discuss the regulation of male sex hormone. So here you will find that 3 different colors of arrows: blue, red and green. So here this tube-like structure, that is in the bloodstream. The hypothalamus is a part of the brain where pituitary gland is located. So hypothalamic releasing hormone stimulates the pituitary gland to secrete hormone, to release the hormone in the blood. Okay. So here this negative indicates, red indicates the inhibition, green indicates the stimulation, and blue indicates the release into the bloodstream. So hypothalamic hormone releasing hormone, gonadotropic releasing hormone, when stimulates the pituitary gland, they releases the FSH and LH, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, that secreted into the bloodstream. So at that time what happened? Androgen stimulates the development of male secondary sex characteristics and maturation of the sperm cell. It also causes FSH also stimulate the meiosis in primary spermatocytes to form immature sperm cell. FSH stimulates the secretion of inhibin by supporting cells. Then LH also stimulates the interstitial cell to secrete the androgen, means primarily testosterone. Then as a concentration of testosterone in the blood, the hypothalamus becomes inhibited, decreasing its stimulation by anterior pituitary gland, means excess secretion will be inhibited. Okay. As ICSH secretion falls, the amounts of testosterone decreases. When blood concentration of testosterone drop, the hypothalamus becomes less inhibited and it once again stimulates the anterior pituitary to release the luteinizing hormone. Male climatic is a decline in sexual function that occurs with age. So here these are the, when the testosterone or whatever the hormone level get increases, the inhibin is that goes into the blood and that will send the impulses to the pituitary gland and hypothalamus to stop the further secretion of androgen. So inhibin prevents the oversecretion of FSH, androgen prevents the oversecretion of LH, androgen prevents also oversecretion of GnRH. So this diagram will give the how the regulation of the male sex hormone. So in short, whatever I explained today, I hope you got it or you understood it. If you have not understood, you please give me the feedback, you give me the recommendation which points you are not understood, then I will again focus it. Thank you for your patience listening. In the next lecture we will discuss the spermatogenesis in detail. Thank you very much.